Sage, the Balloon Sage, and welcome to the first in a series of videos featuring jumbo balloon animals, created from size 350 or 360 balloons. Today's lesson is all about taking classic balloon animal designs and upgrading them to jumbo size, while implementing structural stability enhancing techniques that make it impossible for your figures to come undone. I'll be demonstrating the dog, giraffe, and pony models in that order, as the same basic quadrupedal form can be modified to create a myriad of popular, yet very simple, designs. Well, they aren't the easiest to work with. I invite you to challenge yourself and join me in learning how to show these behemoth balloons
who's boss.
Let's begin by sliding a 350 Mocha Brown onto the nozzle of the pump and inflating. You want to leave about 6 fingers of tail. Let a little air out. And I like to give my 350s a little bit of an inflated stretch to ensure that they're nice, malleable, soft, and easy to work with. Okay, so let's check that tail. There's 4 fingers plus 2. Perfect. All right. We begin with a 6-finger cylinder twist. Now I like to measure using my proximal phalanges as opposed to the fingertips. So kind of put my hand over like that. So that would be 4. 2 more. There's 6. Simple as that. So you kind of mark it off with 1 finger and you'll twist right there. So we already have the snout of the dog. We're making a 5-finger bubble. So again, 4 fingers and then just put an extra one there. We'll hold it right there. The trick is to hold the twist that you've already done while you're making the new one. And with 350s, that's a little bit difficult, but still possible. So we've made our 5-finger bubble. There's an ear. And we can just match it right up. Pull down, make sure it's the same amount of air in each twist. Okay, that's looking even. Maybe a little more. Look at them from both sides, because sometimes your eyes can trick you. That looks good. And pull back when you twist, so you're not catching up any of the other bubbles or cylinders onto the other end. You're decreasing the chance of it popping. There we go. There's the head. On to the neck, which is pretty simple. You can just measure it by eye or 3 fingers. There's our neck. Now for the legs. As you can probably tell, we're going to need 2 balloons, 2 350s to make a single 260 design. But that's okay, because that works. Let's measure again. You can actually start holding it with your arm at some point here as we make, why don't we do a 7-finger bubble? All right. For the leg. I'm kind of controlling the airflow too. These aren't, overfilled. They're actually kind of soft, easier to work with that way. And we match it up, keep in control of all the other twists as we match up there. Yeah, that looks good. Not too much, not too little. Want it to work perfectly. And twist, again, pulling back, making sure that connection point, that high traffic area isn't overloaded. Okay, you can even take this part, stick it through the legs. We're done with this balloon, and we're going to use the classic technique of just ripping it right off. And that's all about pressure, no fingernail. Tie it in, and that's the first part. So on to the next. Mocha Brown 350. We're going to whip out a pair of scissors and actually just snip a little part off, maybe about 3 fingers worth, and toss it aside. Now let's inflate it, and I'd say leave about 5 fingers of tail on this one. Flip a little air out, and tie. Make sure you've got a nice stretchy nozzle on here. We're tying it directly under the neck, using that connection point. Wrap it around a couple of times. You don't have to knot it, especially if you wind it around quite a bit. Friction will take care of the rest. So let's position the neck. Here comes the body segment, which is going to be 6 fingers. Okay, 4 and 2. We'll mark it off right there with my index finger. That's looking good. And at this point, you could put a pinch twist here, but I'm going to save that for when I teach the giraffe, of course. And we'll go directly into making the next leg, which, of course, are 7 fingers as well. This is where it gets a little tricky. You got to kind of hold it with the arm while you're using it. Looks very strange, but it works. And there's 7 fingers right there. We'll mark it off. And tie it. It looks like it syncs up with the other legs in size, maybe a little bit bigger. You got to eyeball it and measure it for the precise, perfect look. And we'll twist that off after a little bit of eyeball measuring. Pull back, spin. Okay, and for the last step, I like to push the tail between the legs, take it out the other side, and that will ensure that it does not come undone. So there's the dog. We haven't done the wrist, well, it's a wristband, it could be a bracelet, but it definitely will keep the dog from coming undone because in about 2 seconds, standard balloon animals end up looking like this. The head's all over the place, the legs are the wrong way. So let's fix that. We have a Mocha Brown 260 here. We're gonna take it from flat to fat. A nice cylindrical shape because it looks much better on the wrist. Okay, we tie it. And then attach it directly to the bottom of the feet. Tie it on, just like that. Give it a little double knot. Snip off that extra portion. Travel along. Right about here. You want the legs kind of tucked in together. It makes the design more compact. It also makes it a bracelet too, which is a nice bonus feature. Okay, this is still rounded. We'll tie this around. Again, a nice knot. Now, it's not only wearable, but it's definitely not coming undone. Let's move on to the giraffe. It's very similar to the dog model. And we start by inflating a stretched out orange 350, leaving approximately 4 fingers of tail. After forming a 6-finger cylinder twist, I like to shape the giraffe's head to give it a more distinct biological aesthetic. This part's a little tricky. Let's tuck it under our arm if we can. And the horns consist of 4 bubbles. So let's call this a 3-finger bubble, a 1-finger bubble, very tiny, another 1-finger bubble, make sure it's matched up, and finish the final 3-finger bubble. You can estimate that. Okay, it looks great. Now I want you to spin all of them extensively to ensure a cohesive structure. Now that long giraffe neck is a 14-finger cylinder twist. Hand over hand, 1, 2, 3, and 2 extra fingers for 14. Cut it off right about there, maybe even a little bit longer if you want. You can slightly alter the dimensions to your preferences. And we'll finish off with 1 leg, not 2, but 1. And that will also be, let's make it 10 fingers to keep it easy, okay? Oop, holding that there. Little rascal, get over there. 8 and 10. Mark it right there. Twist off. And with this extra, you can either cut it off or do what I do and just pop it with my fingertip. So you should have this. Inflate a second stretched orange 350. This time with a 6-finger uninflated portion left over. Tie the nozzle to the foot of our other balloon. Just like this. And bring the balloon up alongside the first layer. Matching it up. That looks good. And spinning rather vigorously once again to form a pair. Now you can ensure the stability by pulling the balloon through the legs. And now we continue on with a short body segment, about maybe 6, about the length of the snout. So there's our 6 fingers right there. Now for that 350 pinch twist. Make a bubble while holding everything together, about that size. Slip it. Pinch and twist forcefully several times while you're pulling away from the focal point of the twist, right here. So that'll give you a little extra lead. Now, it may pop initially, but when you are working with these oversized latex air tubes, you must not allow the fear of sudden loud noises to impede your exuberance. In other words, twist fearlessly. We're just about finished. As we form the back legs, one second up, you'll be left with a little tail in the back. Squeeze into 2 bubbles, push up to the top, and you've got this cute little puffball effect for the giraffe's tail. And just like the balloon dog, a 260 linking the feet will provide unsurpassed stability. The pony design combines everything we learned from making the giraffe and puppy and introduces the trickiest techniques yet. This is the point where I'm going to speed things up, where you're going to end up watching a half-hour video. The giraffe utilized 1 pinch twist. This pony's got 7, and it starts with a pair of petite pinch twists, forming the muzzle. Now that you've formed the head, neck, and front legs, the second 350 becomes the body and the back legs. The final 350 connects at the neck base, transforming into a pair of evenly sized pedal twists. With the remainder coming out the back. Now twist a chain of 4 evenly sized bubbles. Run them up along the neck and tie into the base of the head. After making a matching pair of stabilization pinch twists for the head support, break off the balloon, tie it, secure your scrap, and form the tail. You now have the skills to bring your own jumbo balloon animal ideas to life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next tutorial.